Hey, everybody, we're back with more listener questions on Trap Talk. Again, email us at askus@traptalkpodcast.com. The next question came in without telling us who it's from, so I'm just going to read it out for you guys here. It would be great if y'all would talk about shooting glasses and earplugs. And as far as shooting glasses go, I'm curious about yours and Ricky's, so I guess this was to you, Zach, brand and frame of choice, and even what colors you're using for different lighting conditions. So we've got what earplugs, what glasses, what lenses, brands, manufacturers. They want the whole deal on what you guys are using for gear.
You want to go
Zach,
first,
you want
Rick?
to kick that one off?
Go ahead. You go ahead, Zach, because you can talk about the glasses because you're the reason that I'm shooting the ones that I am. The frame, at least.
So just to give you a little bit of background story, there was a really, really good friend of mine named Mike Reinhardt, and he passed away a few years ago. You know, rest in peace. He was a great guy, and he owned a company called Post 4 Optics. And in my early days of trap shooting, not only did I travel a lot with Mike and spend time with him in his trailer, I was actually one of his guys that sold and repped Post 4 glasses for years all around the country. So they were titanium frames, and I still shoot in them to this day. I have about 7 frames left. He passed away. They no longer make them. But I would say that this frame is very similar to like a Ranger or a Decot. The major difference that I found between like this and the Ranger is the Ranger had a really big piece in the middle that I didn't like seeing. And this one just had a real wiry frame like the Decot where there was nothing inhibiting my vision in any way, shape, or form. But they are classic high-wide style glasses that sits up and is flat. And I do use blinders. As far as lenses goes, I don't believe in changing lenses all the time. I know there's a lot of people that have 15 or 20 different lenses that they roll around in a bucket, but I found that there's a medium shade target orange glow is kind of and he called it orange glow was the name of the lens that Mike used to make, and it was a Zeiss lens, and that is what I used for 90% of all my daytime shooting. I had one bronze lens or copper lens that was for if I was shooting out in Las Vegas and the sun was right over your head and you had the sand and you were like, okay, this is really bright. My eyes are watering. I'm going to use a copper or a bronze. And then I had a 10% gold that I use for shoot-offs nighttime when I'm at the Grand. Anytime we're in super low light conditions, I'd put that. But those 3 lenses, and I had, trust me, 60 to 70 lenses that I could choose from that I went through when I was selling for Post 4, and I tried them all, and I found that your eyes are going to get used to something they like, and once they like that lens, I think you're doing more harm by saying, okay, I'm going to change this and change that, because your pupils and your eyes are going to move based on how much light transmission they get. So if you're like, okay, well, this day the targets look really good with this purple, but then this day they look really good with this red, and then this day they look really good with this orange. Well, those are all different light transmission levels, so your eyes are going to adjust differently based on that, right? And you're adjusting the background, but you also have to think of contrast. So there's contrast in that clay that you're picking it up, and I think it's more important the color of the target than the background. Like, do we got a green target, an orange target? Does it have a black ring around it? That type of thing. So I like to keep it simple. I'm non-prescription. As far as earplugs, I use Pro Mold earplugs by the Spruill family, Jim Spruill. He's got a spot at the Grand Vendors Row behind like Bank 5 or Bank 4, I guess. And the thing that I like about those is they inject them into your ear like the normal ones, but then they send the mold off to the lab and they have a professional molded earplug made the same way that they make hearing aids at labs. So it's an ear lab where most of them, you get the kind of that goo and you shoot it in your ear and you got what you got that day. The problem is that stuff's pretty brittle over time and it breaks and it's not as dense. High-end quality plastic that they use at the professional molds. And I don't know exactly what it's made out of, but the difference is density. So the density of the ones that I get done are much, much more dense than the ones that are just shot into your day of, just because of the quality of the plastic that they're using. And because of that, not only are they smaller and lighter, but they have more ear protection because of the density of the plastic, and they last a lot longer. So
Right on.
that's what I'm using, and I think you should definitely invest in good quality glasses and good quality earplugs because, I mean, it's the cheapest part of our sport in my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How
I
about you,
agree
Rick?
with Zach. But so I use the Post 4 of frames. Zach actually introduced me to Mike. I think was it in Tucson, Zach, maybe?
Yeah.
I think. And I was shooting actually in prescription Pillas at the time. And I had some issues where I had just with the curvature of a lens
Right.
and I was
And that
getting a little
insert, right?
squiggly in
Yeah.
there. Just no, these were not insert. These were called the Sebrings, and there was actually high def
That
specs. It was
whole
before
lens. Oh,
Pillas.
okay.
Yeah,
Back in the high def spec days.
exactly. And the color just out in Tucson, I was just like struggling with the color because growing up, I used decots and I used a light medium target orange, and that's kind of what I was shooting with these. And Mike pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, I think you need to try some darker lenses." And I said, "Mr. Reinard, this is the colors I like. It's light, medium, target orange, and clear. That's all I used. 2 colors, nothing else." He said, "I'm going to make you give me your prescription. I'm going to make you set lenses." And I said, "Mike," he said, no charge. I want to make them for you. You try it." So we were at Tucson. He sent him back to the lab. Boom, boom, gets them down there, and it's a bronze. It's a dark color, and I was like, all right. So when I shot a practice round with him, I'm like, hey, okay. Well, I go out and I shoot the event the next day after getting them, and I break 99 in the handicap. And I'm like, and it was a full Sunday in Tucson, and I'm like, man, I get done. We shoot the doubles. I break a decent score. I don't even remember what I broke in the doubles. I remember the 99. And I'm like, end of the day, I'm not tired. Well, so what was happening is that lighter color lens, it fatigues your eyes. So
Right.
I was like, interesting. So I sat down, chatted with Mike, and he's like, listen, I'll do, so we, had an agreement, and he did all my stuff. And I mean, there was times I'd call him. I'm like, hey, Mike, I'm going to this shoot. Can I, boom, absolutely. And then when Mike passed, L&M Lenses was a dealer for him, and they make their own lenses and such. And Mike and Linda, they were like, listen, we will get this done, and so L&M started doing my stuff for me, and it was great, and still to this day they do it. L&M now is owned by Tom Morgan, and he just did stuff for me at the Grand, and he fits them too. I still wear the same frame.
Right.
I only got one. Now that I found out Zach has 7,
A 7.
I'm gonna be talking to Beth and getting me another freaking lens.
Yeah, I might be able to spare you a frame, Rick. But
Yeah, no, it's great. So I use those. I like the colors I use is the bronze, and it was called a bronze glow.
Yep.
I use a pink glow, and I've actually been shooting with the pink glows lately. And I don't know if it's my eyes as we get older, let more light in. I've been using the pink glows, and then I actually have a light orange glow that I do shoot some sporting with occasionally, and then I use clear for shoot offs. I just want to make sure I get all the light in possible.
Right.
Now, as far as hearing protection, I use Otopro Technologies, Dr. Grace, and then Willie's worked there, Clancy. They do the electronic, and they're the Sound Gear Phantoms that I use, and I use those. I shoot in them, not all the time. I still use the 3M earplugs occasionally because I forget to charge them. So,
you gotta do that.
but they're a great company. Dr. Grace over there is awesome, and so that's what I use. To each is their own as far as colors. Everybody's eyes are different. So I
Yeah,
try
right.
to tell people.
And I did want to mention
but-
that. I mean, Mike told me a lot about eyes, and he said if you have a lighter colored eyes, you have light blue eyes, you're probably going to need darker lenses because of the pigment in your eye.
lenses.
I've got these, we call them shit brown eyes, these Italian ones, and it's just one of those things where you don't need as much protection because my eyes are already pigmented in a way that they're not as light sensitive. I'm not light sensitive.
Yeah.
I had some people that I was getting lenses for where they're like, Zach, if it doesn't dark enough, I'm going to have an extremely bad headache. And so that just kind of tells you that everybody responds differently. I've found that blue eyes and lighter eyes are going to gravitate to the pink colors. So more purples, more pinks. The darker the eyes are going to kind of gravitate to more of the coppers, the oranges, and the browns. Just kind of a regular rule of thumb. But everybody sees things differently. So you're going to have to try them out, is what I say. I say go down to the ground and put some and look through them and see what you like.
Right. What do you guys think about how early in the day do you put your glasses on to make sure that your eyes have adjusted? Because, it takes some time, right?
Well, and let me answer this real quick. So, and I didn't say, I wear prescription lenses just to shoot. Now, as I'm getting older, I do need to
some readers.
wear the readers to look at my phone and sometimes. But so with prescription lenses, I always recommend if you're like me and you don't wear them just to shoot, put them on in the morning. When you get to the club, I throw mine on because I've noticed that some people get prescription and then they go out and they throw them on and walk out and shoot, and they're just kind of like, whoa, it is a transition. Let your eyes adjust. So I always recommend, and even with non-prescription, I think it's good too, because some people, I run into people that are using a red lens, and it's like, it just lets all the light in. So you want to make sure your eyes are comfortable and ready to shoot.
I think non-prescription people, less time than prescription, just like Rick said, but I would tell you that I'm putting my glasses on at least 30 minutes before an event. Here's the other thing that a lot of people aren't doing. You put your glasses on and you go sit in the car and it's dark in there, right? Your eyes haven't adjusted. You need to get out in front of the trap or at least out in that light condition for, I'd say, probably 30 minutes before the event at least. And, if you're not shooting till 11 o'clock, you don't need to put your glasses on at 8:30. But I would have them on by 10:30, and I'd be, because, that's the similar light, and it's waking your eyes up. I think as much importance goes to putting those on as staying hydrated. So if you're dehydrated, your eyes aren't going to work as well. And I think if you can just make sure you're getting a lot of water, and here's another trick for your shooting bag, some eye drops. High quality eye drops is something that I keep in my shooting bag at all times. If my eyes are feeling a little dry, or if they feel like they're not awake, or do you feel like ever sluggish where you're like, man, my eyes aren't moving very fast? Well, you throw a couple eye drops in there, lube them up, get them going. It wakes them up. It refreshes them. So, those are some kind of eye care things that I think people should at least think about.
Great.
Absolutely.
All right.
I agree.
Yeah. That was great, guys. All right. So again, email us at askus@traptalkpodcast.com, and we will get these guys to answer your questions. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.